I'm going to put this whole thing in perspective pretty quickly. When Robert came and asked me if I talked about the backpack program, I said, sure. And he said, no, I'm not going to be here. He said, you and Dennis Ashley are going to have the whole program. I thought, oh, my goodness, what am I into? And having coached for a long time, I heard all kinds of words: starting team, substitute, scrubs. So let me tell you what Dennis and I are. So I'm a good friend, Stork Maddox, one day, who just finished a 6-month tenure at Legion Church, filling in. He was a sub. And we were talking, and his wife fills up the backpacks on Thursday evening for the primary school. And I said, well, Stork, what are you going to do? You've spent 6 months being in the pulpit at Legion. What are you going to do? He said, well, I don't know. Said, I didn't complete all the coursework to be given a regular church, but he said, I guess I'm going to do some filling in for people. I said, well, that's good. He said, yeah, I was coming to your church on July the 14th, but I'm on vacation, and I had to tell Robert Burlingham I couldn't come. So you were coming on the 14th of July, yeah. So I figured out right quick we were at least third team. We were the scrubs when they Dennis, when they couldn't get the substitute to go in the game, you know, we had to come. Let me tell you how I got involved in the backpack program. 3 years ago, just reading conference literature, it comes out. I went to Terry Goodman and I said, Terry, I think we can qualify for one of the grants the Conference Foundation gives throughout the conference each year, and they give hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he said, okay, what do you want it to be for? And I said, the backpack program at the primary school. So we applied for a grant of $2,500. It was given, and that's become the seed money in our restricted deal here at the church, restricted line item for the backpack program. As he was leaving, we applied for another grant. I said, apply for $2,500 again. He said, well, we just got one. I'll apply for $2,000. I said, okay, well, we got it. So last year, with Donna Townsend, who's the guidance counselor at the primary school, whose husband's a pastor at the Christian church, I said, can you help me out a little bit? What do we need to get started? And she said, well, I'll check and see. And so she came back and she said, well, we kind of need to restock everything. And I said, well, I have $2,000. And she said, well, could you save part of it to Christmas? I said, okay, how about $1,000 to start, and I'll give you another $1,000 at Christmas, and that would take care of the $2,000 that we'd gotten the grant. I said, what happens at Christmas? And she said, well, we put more food in the backpacks, which made sense. They're out of school for a couple of weeks. So this year, as soon as Robert hit the ground a year ago, I said, we need to apply for another grant, but I want $3,000 this time. $1,000 to start, $1,000 at Christmas, and $1,000 at the second semester. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about, but we'll apply for the grant and you can fill me in. So I did. So Robert, a month ago, said, I need to get more involved in this, and I'm going to call all the pastors in the ministerial association and people that participate in this, get them together, and I want you to be there, because he said, I don't really understand all the workings of it. And I said, okay. So I go, and I think it was set up between Ray Moore and Bud Kilburn and Robert and Sandra Jones, and I don't know, a couple others were there. And I no more had sat down than they said, we need you to be in charge of this. I said, you got to be kidding me. I thought I retired. But I sat there and I said, okay, but if you know me, If I'm going to be in charge, I'm going to be in charge. And they said, okay. So I did some preliminary work with Mary Beth Masters at Wise Primary School in Wise, who has been very involved in their backpack program and also is a go-to person for the Lunchbox 276 that raised $21,600 at Genesis Hair Salon last month. The Lunchbox 276 program has nothing to do with the backpack program. We are, at all elementary schools in the county are going to participate in that program this year, but it is simply money that's put into a student's account for that youngster that goes around and says, if you don't want that, I want that off your tray. And teachers recognize them as being growing children who need more food than what's put on the tray. And so they have a card which gives them access to buy extra food at lunch, okay? Now, I had pitched a fit about about our students not in Wise County not being able to have free breakfast and free lunch, a federal program which started 4 years ago. My grandchildren in Cleveland, Tennessee have had free breakfast and free lunch, and that's a pretty affluent community for the last 3 years. We started out in only 3 schools in the county, and then this past year, all schools in the county except 3 got to participate, and this next year, every school in the county will have free breakfast and free lunch. Sometimes you have to be the squeaky wheel and just keep prodding. All right, so let's talk about the backpack program for a few minutes. We started early today, and Dennis is last, so if we don't get out on time, it's not my fault, okay? All right, there are 96 students at the primary school, which is roughly 14% of the student body that participate in the backpack meal program. Now, the backpack meal program is designed to put food in an instrument to take home on Friday that would feed them on Saturday and Sunday. And so in that are such things as cereal bars, individual cereal boxes, granola bars, small cans with easy to take off tops of SpaghettiOs, Chef Boyardee products, SpaghettiOs, ravioli, that type of thing, juice boxes for drinks, individual servings of fruit, maybe 1 or 2 more I can't think of, but that's where it is. So I didn't like the idea that there were 14 items on there that people were bringing in, raisins. Can you imagine a kindergarten child trying to open that little box of raisins and then thinking that's one of his nutritious deals, which it could be, but microwave popcorn. How's a first grader or kindergarten kid get in the microwave, reach up high enough to get into it? Nabs, which anybody can buy. So anyway, in dealing with Mary Beth Masters at Wise, we were able to reduce the items going in the backpack from 14 different items to only 8 items. And those are 8 food items and 2 juice boxes for a total of 10 items that go in the backpack each week. Well, I sat at home and said, 2 juice boxes, 2 days, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that doesn't get it, so we're going to have to put more juice boxes in there. But we're working on that. All right. So, as you know, there'd been a matrix, and the church had items that you brought in monthly and left here, and then they were taken to the food pantry. So when we reduced it from 14 to 8 items, Ray Moore, the rector to Episcopal Church, immediately said, that's going to increase the items you get to go in the backpack by 40%. And he's right. So we've narrowed it down to those. All right, now, the thing I found out is a monetary donation can provide 12% more food than just bringing the food in. And you say, why is that? Because we're able to buy as a tax-exempt deal, and we get a discount. So when you combine the discount and the tax that you're not paying, there's about 12% difference in $1. So your dollar donation is worth $1.12 as opposed to bringing in food. But some people want to bring in food. They like to participate that way. All right. So how are you going to get this? How you get this home? Jackie Maddox and Donna Garant that pack those things. Well, we use plastic Walmart bags or plastic Food City bags. That's not any good. You know, that plastic bag, half the time it breaks before I get it in the house anyway. So I go back to my upbringing somewhere along the line, and I call this person and I say, how much did you pay for those backpacks you gave the All-Stars in football last year? They said, well, not much, $6 or something. And I said, okay, do you know how I can order those? And you see, there's a motive to the madness. You don't go and say, well, you give me 125 backpacks. You hint all the way around it. And finally, he said, how many do you need? I said, I need 125. He said, let me see what I can do. So I have 125 backpacks coming. I've dealt with BSN Sports for several years. Jeff Davidson, who played for us at Powell Valley, is a salesman. And so I called Jeff, and I said, Jeff, this hits home 2 or 3 times. Union Primary School, one. Food, another one. I need 125 cinch sacks. How many of you know what a cinch sack is? It's a cloth backpack with small strings that run through it so that it can be used the same way. So if we have backpacks to put the food in, and then at Christmas or other time, cinch sacks, those youngsters can haul it in. All right, one other thing I've done, I've looked at each of the items that we're going to put in there, and if you go to local grocery store to buy Quaker breakfast bars, like a granola bar, the cost for that full bar, or our cost, is roughly $1.08. I can go to Costco and buy half that bar, 1.2 ounces, for 26 cents. So why wouldn't you put 3 half bars in each backpack? Now, these are kindergarten children, so can imagine if you give them that whole breakfast bar, part of it is probably not going to be eaten. But if you give them a half bar, there's a great chance that they'll eat it all. Well, I can put 3 to 4 half bars in that backpack cheaper than I can put 1 whole bar. So, a little trip down to Costco in Knoxville, and we'll buy about 20 cases of those, and we'll be able to take care of that. All right, the next thing was, if we can raise the money, use the month of July, not bring in products to go on the shelf, and use the month of July to collect money to get a 10-week stock in that backpack program, then the rest of the year, beginning in August, may be able to keep that backpack pantry stocked. Well, I've had to go raise my goal. If my goal was $6,500 to stock that for 10 weeks, it's now more in the neighborhood of $13,000 to $15,000, which will take care of Christmas and stock it for 20 weeks. And you say, how? Well, I'll start right off the bat. We'll take $1,000 out of our $3,000 grant from a conference, and Dennis with the Sun trailer $750. I picked up a check from Eastern Gap Methodist yesterday for $1,000. Appalachian Methodist right off the bat gave me a $200 contribution. Now, it's kind of funny how the rest of it comes. Right off the bat, I had 2 donations last Sunday from this congregation. I've had 4 online donations, 2 of them from Tennessee, 2 of them locally. I've had a Western Union deal of $70 sent in here. I had a friend of mine, dear friend in Athens, Tennessee, who I played with for football for 4 years, who ate at my house every Friday because he came out of a situation that he wouldn't have eaten after school, in a very poor situation, but he and his wife handed me a check for $300 Tuesday morning when I met him at Hardee's. Food City has come back and said, we're going to donate $500 worth of that product to you. David Dowdy gave me a check for $650. I sit right now at $5,521. And there's at least 14 different churches that are talking to their congregations last week and next week, and are going to send their check. West End, East Stone Baptist, it just goes on and on. So I never want to reach a goal and leave money laying on the table, so I want to get every bit I can and put it in there. So here's what happens then. I think it's a great mission locally and in our town and in our schools to know that we're trying to do something to help youngsters who don't have the opportunity and chances that we have. And it's good. It's full steam ahead. Very transparent in what I do. I want to make sure I already have 16 thank you notes written that I'm kindly waiting another week or so to kindly close it out, and I'll make sure each person that contributes gets a thank you note, and so that they'll know we've got that. 3 ways you can contribute. You can write a check to the church and mark it, Bear Pack Meals. I can tell you how to do it online if you want to do it that way, very secure. Or you can write a check to Union Primary School for backpack meals, and it go that way. 2 years ago, the roll of students jumped from 38 to 96. When Appalachia closed the primary school, it jumped from 38 to 96 youngsters being served. When they get ready to start this year, it could go to 100, 105. It could drop back to 90, but still it's a significant number, 14, 15% of the student body who participates in the backpack program. Now, there's more students than that qualify for reduced or free lunch, but now that's kind of out because everybody's going to get free breakfast and free lunch. There's all kinds of government programs, federal programs that doesn't cost a dime that we need to take care of in this county to feed kids. There's a third meal program that's going on in Lee County today. At the end of school every day, every student in Lee County is given a drink, a juice box or a milk, a protein, a fruit, and sent on their way home every day. And the same thing's taking place in Norton. Well, it's all around us. Why aren't we doing it? And sometimes I feel like the people in charge feel like it's beneath them to understand that we have hungry children in our school system. I'll give you one other fact, and I'll sit down. How many of you know that we have homeless children in our schools right out here? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Part of it is the effect of the drug epidemic that we have in this area. The older that kid gets, the smarter they get. The police come to arrest their mom, arrest their dad, or arrest both of them. Those kids hide in the closet. They hide under the bed. They don't want to go to foster homes. As soon as they're taken away and taken to jail, those kids are homeless. The younger kids sometimes are provided for. Sometimes if they know there are young children in that house, social services, I think I'm right in saying this, come with them to take those children away and put them in foster homes. But I had at least one, and sometimes two, football players the last 4 years I was at Powell Valley that were homeless young men. So it's here. It's here. And if we can feed these young ones, we've got a chance to give them some hope that they won't ever be in that position. That's my mission statement for the day.
Thank you, Phil. To just re-say part of what he said in a very small part, if you want to donate through the church, make your check out to Trinity United Methodist Church, and in the note at the bottom, put for the backpack program. That way it'll get there. And you'll get credit for your donation tax-wise through the church. He said there are a couple other ways to do it too, so